I recently read Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers, and it finally helped me understand the root of all my fears. Fear has far too much control over all our lives. It causes us to stay in jobs that drain us, put off starting a business we know could work, or avoid the difficult conversations that we need to have. But fear of what? What are we really afraid of? There is one subconscious thought fueling all these fears. I won't be able to handle it. On the other side of what you're hesitating to do, like making a big decision to work for yourself or change jobs, is a wide array of possible outcomes, and there is at least one you don't think you can handle. I've seen this in my life over the last year. I've procrastinated on launching a new product for months. At the base of that procrastination sit two competing fears: the fear it wildly succeeds and the fear it fails. If it succeeds, I might drown in work and lose precious time with my kids. If it fails, I have to face the reality that my idea wasn't as good as I thought. Both outcomes feel unbearable, so I freeze. But when I face my fears and simulate both outcomes, I know that I'll eventually handle either scenario. If it succeeds, I'll slowly build a system to deal with the workload, and if it fails, I'll keep iterating until I discover something people need. In other words, I'll adapt, because that's what I've always done. And that's what you've always done too. Think about it. Haven't you discovered ways to be happy, even when you didn't get what you wanted? Haven't you found new paths when the old ones closed? You've never actually fallen into a hole you couldn't climb out of. Yet fear keeps whispering the same lie. This time will be different. This time you won't be able to handle it. There's a massive difference between not liking an outcome and not being able to handle it. You might not like getting rejected, but you can handle it. You might not like failing publicly, but you can handle it. You might not like the discomfort of change, but you can handle it. Each time fear stops you from doing something you want, like meeting that person or making that career change, you feel weak and the fear becomes paralyzing. But routinely feel fear, trust your ability to handle it, then move toward it, and fear stops dictating your life. The question is, how do you build that level of self-trust? It starts by building an I can handle anything mindset using the following 3 habits. First, look for whatever is causing you tension right now, then nod your head and say, yes. Feeling overwhelmed? Yes. Now I get to learn a new way to manage my stress. Still disappointed after a terrible work presentation? Yes. Now I'm hungry to learn some high-pressure performance techniques. Most of us do the opposite. We say no. No, I don't want to feel this way. No, this isn't what I wanted. But resisting reality and wishing things were different tells your mind you can't handle what's happened, which gives fear permission to worry about everything else you'll hate in the future. When you say no to discomfort, you're like a swimmer being pulled out to sea by a powerful current who fights the water, burns all their energy, and gets pulled under. But when you say yes to what is, you stop fighting. You relax and remember that you can escape by swimming parallel to the shore. Instead of panicking, you see what's possible and find the angle that allows you to slowly get back to land. Improving your life requires taking fear's power away. You do that by accepting whatever you're experiencing and relentlessly moving forward. Before we get to the second way to cultivate an I can handle anything mindset, let me tell you about a company that can reduce your fear of compliance. If you ever hope to scale your business, you need to be compliant with the latest information security and privacy frameworks, like SOC 2, ISO 27001, and HIPAA. That's why Vanta helps businesses of all sizes achieve compliance quickly by automating 35+ critical frameworks. By investing in compliance early, you protect sensitive data and simplify the process of meeting industry standards. Fast-growing companies like Ramp and Ryder spend 82% less time on audits with Vanta. Click the link in the description below to start with Vanta's Compliance for Startups bundle. Now, back to the summary and habit number 2. Take responsibility for how you feel. If someone runs a red light and hits you with their car, you're not at fault. But being angry, hopeless, and miserable a week later is entirely your fault. How you feel 10 seconds or 10 hours from now is your responsibility, no matter what happens to you. Replay someone else's stupidity on loop or obsess over what you lost, and you'll stay miserable. But focus on one tiny thing you can do to improve your situation, and you suddenly feel better. By taking full responsibility for your emotional state, you feel like you can handle any situation. Because no matter what happens, you won't feel bad for long. Over the years, I've returned to 2 habits that help me take full responsibility for how I feel in any situation. These habits form the acronym OG. O. Opportunity searching. The Happiness Advantage taught me that if I see at least 4 opportunities for every threat, happiness follows. Even if I'm lying in a hospital bed after a car accident, I can discover at least 4 opportunities in front of me. I had the opportunity to work on my book, master mindfulness to manage my pain, spend more time talking to my kids, and prove to them they can remain optimistic no matter what happens. G. Gratitude stacking. Whatever happens, it could always be much worse. I could have a flesh-eating disease, but I don't. I could have died a few years ago, but I didn't. And when I do lose something, there's always something valuable I still have. My family, friends, and hard-earned skills. The number of things that had to go right for me to have those things is absolutely remarkable. Lastly, take the long view and adopt extreme patience. Author Susan Jeffers says, "Impatience is simply a way of punishing yourself." In her book, Susan Jeffers tells the story of teaching her young son to plant a seed in a flower pot. Excited, he pulled up a chair and started watching it. He sat there staring at the soil, waiting for the flower to appear. He didn't understand that growth takes time, that you plant the seed, tend to it, and wait while invisible forces do their work beneath the surface. We make the same mistake with our fears. We imagine a crisis hitting, a failed project, a brutal rejection, a personal heartbreak, and we judge our ability to handle it based on how we'd feel in that immediate moment. Of course, it feels unbearable. We're zoomed in so close that the problem is all we can see. But pull back to 10 weeks or 10 months, and we get the wide-angle shot. That same problem becomes one chapter in a much longer story. Our capacity to handle it grows because we've given ourselves enough time to take a small series of positive actions that show results, much like the boy's plant. Remember the words of Leo Tolstoy: "The 2 most powerful warriors are patience and time." The next time you face a fear, make yourself one promise. I will give myself enough time to deal with whatever happens. Judge your fears not by what might happen immediately, but by what you couldn't recover from in 3 years. Watch how many fears fall away. That was the core message that I gathered from Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. This book made an impact on my life 2 decades ago, and it still resonates today. I highly recommend it. If you would like a 1-page PDF summary of the insights I gathered from this book, just click the link in the description below, and I'll email it to you. If you're already signed up for the free Productivity Game newsletter, this PDF is in your inbox.